somebody else.
No.
No?
Oh, Noah.
Noah. Oh, that's all. I just take one look, I can tell how many people in this. So Noah, yeah, what's with him? He was by Mara.
I think he went to meet with the Shochet for something, I don't know.
Yes, it's Ben Gross the same. I don't know. All right.
Hemshech Samech Vav, page Kuf Mem Vav, Kuf Mem Zayin, Dalid Adar Rishon, Hatavshin Samech Chet.
So it's a little hard for me to raise my voice at the moment because I have a problem with a tooth. It causes me a lot of pain, so when I talk it's all so we'll have to try and do the best we can. That's so we saw the Kodesh Aveda of the Adam. Tatlis Kol Aveda is that he should be in the living from Rotzoi V'Shoy. And we saw that the union from Tefillah, davening B'Klal, that was seen from Yisrael Sav V'Yir Rotzoi, and then we saw that Kol HaYoyim was the Kiyum the mitzvahs, B'Poel Mamish, Lamata B'Seh HaElam, that's the union of Shoy. We saw that the Rotzoi, despite the fact that it comes, both Rotzoi V'Shoy, notwithstanding that they come from a Yisraelis, Nomaila, as was explained in the earlier drushim prior to these, that every morning the Eivsha sends down a special arousal from a high madrega in Elikus to awaken the Neshamas to Avodas Hashem, and that causes in them the union of a desire to go upwards and to unite with Elikus, going out of their own Matthias, Harogio, and that's Rotzoi. And then we saw that the same Yisraelis also gives them a power afterwards to come back down from that arousal of going out, but that's a close idea of Rotzoi, to come back and to go in the ways of Torah mitzvahs and to Davki bring Elikus Lamata B'Teicha Elam. However, even though the Iker Rotzoi and Shev are awakened by this Yisraelis Nomaila, there has to be the Avedas HaAdam B'Koyach Atzmai. And we saw that that's a Iker Godel, that the Adam has to be Misyakeya, he has to work hard and struggle, be Yikia, in his boneness, a genuine isbonus which will bring him to Ava V'Yira. But the Yisraelis can help him and awaken him to that. But if he doesn't carry out that Aveda, then the Rotzei won't be in a genuine Oifen, never will be the Adinin of the Shaiv. And so we saw that the Inyan of Rotzei and the Shaiv are two opposite almost actions on the part of the Adam, and yet both of them need the union of Aveda, the Koyach Atzmai, and Yigia, an effort on the part of the Adam, the Koyach Atzmai. And Be'ika in the union for Rotzei, it was in order to wake up the yearning to go out and higher to be mistabik in Elikus, out of his whole Matthias and out of the Matthias of the world, and that comes through his boneness David. And through the arousal, as we saw, Be'ika, the union for Ahavo, and Be'ika, Ahavo is Hashem, Yiras Hashem. That's more the union in his boneness and going out into what he understands and appreciates, and of course into a higher level of experience in Elikus. However, the union from Shoyev we saw was stuff coming down, and that in itself, the Iker Kiyum HaMitzvahs B'Poyo, in the world, Lamata, and that was through, in that Guva, in the union from Mitzvahs, we saw the two inyonim in mitzvahs. So we actually learned about that already in the earlier drush in Elatel the Noach, in the drush of Noach, But over there, the Rebbe explained that there were two inyanim in keeping mitzvahs. So one was the inyan of keeping the mitzvah pure because it was the rotzen of the Eibishter. That was for Kabbalah or Malchus Shemayim. And that was given away of the self-purity to the rotzen of the commander of the mitzvah, not being interested in any details or understanding, but just to do the will of the Eibishter. And then there was a Kavanah Proteus in each mitzvah. We saw, for example, by Tefillin, the Adar brings in Shulchan Aruch, you have to be Mishabed, your lev and your moyach to Elikus, but that's the Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh. And the same with mitzvahs, it's also tzitzis, it's mavur and tzitzis, a big arichas in the Kutei Teref and the Alter Rebbe and Pasha Koirach, and other places for the Kavanas are mitzvahs of tzitzis. And so in every mitzvah there's a Kavanah Proteus, which has got to do with how that relates to the Adar, how he can understand what that mitzvah is about, and then he does it in such a way that he's mechaven himself to those inyanim what he learned in the meaning and in the significance of that mitzvah, when I get to Gilei Elikus. So we saw there was two different inyanim. And the Rebbe said that in order that the shoiv be mamish b'pnimiyas, and the shoiv should be the way it should be, then there has to be both of those inyanim in the inyan mitzvahs. And that's where we were holding. We saw the kamoy betfilin, the shadra leva moyach, the kahai gavna, the shari mitzvah, similar to that in the other mitzvahs. In a bitei shetia mitzvah b'pchinas pnimiyas. Echad me'aifanim anal, zari dei yigosei davke. In order that the mitzvah should be in an even from pnimiyos, in one of those two eifanim that we mentioned, or both of them. In other words, Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim complete, or being mechaven to the detailed inyanim in the mitzvah. Zeu al yidei yigiyosei davke, precisely through his making his own effort, his own struggle, shetzorek liyageya, bozeh shetia siyas ha-mitzvahs kediboy, that the keeping of the mitzvah should be proper, the way it's expected to be. Dami yiseres levad, if he will only rely on the divine awakening that he should come to carry out the mitzvahs, then he won't carry out the mitzvahs in the way that we just mentioned. Ki'im asiyah levad, b'li ha'kavona. You only do just the mitzvah, just to be yetzer l'dei choiva, as you might say, just to get mitzvah done, but he won't have any kavona. He won't feel any deep inner purpose in the mitzvah. V'ika hashoiv hu sheyeh b'chinas pnimiyas. The ika inu, when we say that you come back from the rotzai to devote yourself to the kiyum of the Eibishter's will in the mitzvahs, well, that means that the mitzvahs have to be b'pnimiyas. V'zeh bo alidei yigiyah davka. Well, that comes through the union of yigiyah precisely. So here we see a very fascinating idea that in Emerson, the Eibishter wants that we should serve him, and therefore that's the whole kavanah of sending the neshama lamata, and the neshama zanimta b'olam hazeh atakte, was that there should be the union of Avedas Hashem, and the neshama should come to know the Eibishter, and eventually carry out all his kavanah. And ultimately, particularly the way it is b'dor zeh, to carry out the final touches of Dira B'Tachtonim and to bring Moshe Papoya. So therefore the Eibishter wants that we should carry out everything, and therefore he awakens us. And he sends down awakening that we should want to come close to him, we should pray in such a way that we'll come close to him. What that's in from Rotzai. But after you've done that, then he says, yes, you've got to go back down, like we described the Malachim, that Rashi brings it. We'll mention that not all that far from here again. That after the Rebbe actually quotes the Rashi. That over there in Yecheskel, it's written that the angels, for example, they have Rotzav V'Shoiv, or they go outwards and then all of a sudden they go beyond a certain point and their heads go up, which you might call into a very high area than what they are accustomed, and all of a sudden they retreat back. So ask yourself the Shaila, what's the purpose of having the whole thing? And if we say that we want to promote you to have a rotza, you want to go out and have a kishmak, elevation into Elokus beyond the whole situation of this world, and you appreciate Elokus in a way that you want to become higher and get out of your whole situation, then why would the Abishah send you back? What is the purpose of giving you that whole rotza if he says, yeah, but that's not really the emes of purpose. The emes of purpose is you have to be back in the world, and you have to be Mekayim mitzvahs b'poel mamish in the world, or make the world, or dira b'tach toinim. Then forget about the rotza. Just tell people to be bali kabbalah sel, just go out and do Torah mitzvahs. What do you need the whole union of rotza? And particularly that it expresses itself in the union of Avodas HaTefillah. Why do we have to spend so much time davening? Just don't maybe mitzvahs tefillin, people had to put on tefillin for 5 minutes and gave later. What's the whole union of this rotza if it's not really the ultimate kavanah? Because ultimately he wants you to come back, and it would appear from that the shoyiv is more ultimate than the rotza. Why would we need the whole union from the rotza for shoyiv? Just have shoyiv, or don't even shoyiv. Don't have to come back anywhere. Just do what you're supposed to do. And a lot of people would tell you that. They've said, I don't know what you're talking about, rotza v'shoyiv. Just got to do what you're supposed to do. So the answer to that, and particularly that we see here, that the Rebbe mentioned it, that when you come back to doing the mitzvahs b'poel in the shoyiv, then you have to have both kavanas in the mitzvah. You have to have the kavana of Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim, because you're commanded by the Eibush to Bilvad, and then you also have to have the detailed kavanas. If you look over there in Parsha Torah until the Snoyach, I don't know, maybe it's one or two Vatik Talmidim that they learned that part of the Emshech also, and I remember what's written over there. The Rebbe says that the whole Ikah is Kabbalah Sel, and the whole Ikah of the mitzvahs is keeping the mitzvahs mitzad Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim, and how the Kavanah Prati is involved in every mitzvah. That's what you might call, that's like icing on the cake, that's like the special Gishmak part if you happen to get that far. But the Ikah is to do all the mitzvahs for Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim Davke. That's what brings everything Lamata. If you just go according to the kavanas, it could be that you do the mitzvah, but you don't really affect the world the way it should really be. Lamata. So we look carefully over there at the end of the whole passage over there in Parsha Noach. It would appear that the Rebbe links both of them together. He said, if you have, first of all, and that's your basis, and that's the whole way you do mitzvahs, is Kabbalah Sel, Bilvat, just complete Kabbalah Sel and devoted yourself to the Eibishter, then that's the basis of all the mitzvahs, and Ein Hanami, that's a kurt that brings the mitzvahs Lamata. But it's also good and also proper that the mensch be involved in this idea of the details of the mitzvahs and the detailed kavanas, because when it comes Lamata through the Pu'ula, Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim, then he'll bring all that with him Lamata. And if he's put effort also into the detailed part of it, the Kabbalah Sel is so massive that it'll sweep everything Lamata, and then also all the details that he put in one cost, they'll also, from that it follows that really both things are essential, both things are important. And one makes reality out of the Adar. In other words, it is just busy yourself only with the details and all the fine things and wondrous things about the mitzvahs, then you'll be a highly spiritual man, and you'll be always worrying about the spirits and the high things in the mitzvahs. But it could be that you won't really affect the world around you with your mitzvahs. There won't really be gilel akus mamish in the world. That you'll be somewhat withdrawn. That there'll be a certain, what you might call hafshota in the mensch. It'll be a very high and elevated withdrawal, but nonetheless not the ultimate kavanah. Having devoted himself and having done in every mitzvah a complete Kabbalah Sel, and giving himself absolutely to the Eibishter, well, that causes, we just pointed out, that causes that both of the inyonim ultimately link together. so that the power of the Kabbalah Seal of bringing everything lamata, and make sure that everything is just lamata pure, because that's the rotzen of the Eibishter. If he also puts in effort into the detail, then that great koach of having devoted himself to the will of the Eibishter, mamish lamata, b'zeho ilom, how it's supposed to be, it's Kabbalah Seal, well, that will bring and reveal with it also the details, and then they'll be in the right way. They'll come into the world and into his avodah in such a way that they'll be also nimshach from his kala lamata, and he won't be just a spiritual person, somewhat withdrawn from the Elam. As we see, the kavanah people who are into all sorts of high inyanim tend to be somewhat withdrawn and not necessarily mavara the whole Elam papashtas. Therefore, we could say that when the Rebbe talks about the eating from shoy, that you've got to come back into the world after having had a rotzoi, then you've got to bear in mind both aspects of the mitzvahs, because one, as it were, completes and is mashling the other, the Kabbalah Seal, and the complete giving away to Hashem, without necessarily asking in the atzim basis of your keeping in the mitzvahs for all the details, just being completely devoted to Him. Tzad bittul harotzen and bittul ha'odam legamrei to rotzen Hashem. Well, that then makes it possible and opens up the gateways that then when he will think about the detailed protim of the mitzvahs, he will have great atzlacha b'zeh, and it will also come down and be miskala in the world. That gufa will come down into the world and be miskala lamata, so that it'll be nikah on him, and it'll be noticeable in his avodah that he knows what Shabbat is Alev Amoyach means, he knows what Chochma means, what Bina means, the different inyanim in the Mavur and the Alter Rebbe Siddur, when I get to the inyan from Kiyum Mitzvahs Tefillin and Tzitzis, with all those inyanim, they themselves will reach their perfection, both in his knowledge of them and in his bringing them into practice in his Avodah B'Poya, through the fact that they were based on an Avodah Klalius of Kabbalah Seal Malchus Mayim, absolutely devoted purely mitzad the for Rosh Hashem. And therefore the Rebbe said that in for Shoiv, it's important that both be there. And therefore if you look up in, or he brings it in Pasuk, I'll tell this Noach over there, then you'll see that he links the both of them together, and they become how do you call it, one reaches its perfection, and it's shleimus alidei the Adar, which means that the kiyum of the mitzvahs is a different idea, coming back into the world and darkly revealing everything lamata in the inyan of the pashtas ha'olam lamata, not going upwards and yearning for high inyanim and alakus. But had you not had that rotzeh, had you not wanted to go out, then you're just stuck on the ground. How they said, it never really bothers you anything in particular. All you just do is, you just do your Yiddishkeit, and you just, how they call it, you do mitzvahs in order to fulfill your obligation, and you're a balbatish person, you go ahead, v'chule. But if you have a rotzoi, and you have a desire to get into Elikus, then it bothers you, and you're worried about the fact what's happening with the rotzen of the Eibishter v'chulu, because all of a sudden you hear, having gone into a high idea of what it means to be out of this whole crazy Indian, which is called this world, and you get into Elikus, then all of a sudden the question asks in your mind, wait a minute, what is Elikus really all about? What does it really want? And then you hear that it really wants you to be Lamata, then you come Lamata with all that realization and gishmak that you got out of being into Elikus. But if you're not into Elikus, it doesn't really have an emissary Isoirus that you should want to come Lamata. So therefore said the Rebbe, the Isoirus no milo everybody gets, Ali didn't get. Everybody feels that he's got to do something in the morning, he's got to daven, epis he has to do, and keep mitzvahs during the day. But if you've taken that Isoirus and you've worked on it to get into an emissary going out, an emissary rotzoi, and then you've worked on it to bring yourself into an emes shoyiv, it's to come back and to do what the Eibush wants, or then it's with a different pa'ula, and it's with a different, how do we call it, shleimus. It becomes a perfect thing, and he taka changes the world, and that's what we saw. That's the union of Dira Leis Barabetach Toinim, is taka ultimately through the union of Kiyum HaMitzvahs Papoyo. Anamela, that's the union of having in both Rotzei V'Shoiv his own effort. And precisely through that, they breach the emes connection, one with the other, and one gives a power into the other. So that's what the union of Rotzei V'Shoiv Alidei Yigiyah. So now it goes on to say, U'be'emes HaShoiv U'bekoyach Atzmei Oid Yoisamiyah HaRotzei. That the union of Shoiv is got a requirement that he make an effort, that the people Yigiyosei U'bekoyach Atzmei, even more than the Rotzei. In other words, it's much easier to go out and to want high things and to be attracted and even to elevate yourself into high inyonim than it is to really do what you're actually supposed to do. In other words, we might say that the difference is that in the Inifan Rotzoi, the mensch is busy with ultimately what he wants. And in the Shoiv, he's ultimately busy with what does Hashem want, what does the Eibush want. And that's, it's very easy to want what you really want. But to want what the Eibush wants is not always easy at all. Because sometimes when you hear what the Eibush wants, it's rather in a different sort of style than what you pictured for yourself. And particularly when it's explained through the Rebbe, and through the Nasi Shabbadah and the Mashiach Shabbadah, it's explained to you what is the Kavanah Amiti is, what is the Kiruv, Mashiach Bapoyo. And sometimes I think, well, I need all this way, maybe I should just find myself a nice base medrash in Borough Park, and I'll put on a little big long bucket chair down to the ground. I'll wear a gattel 48 hours in the 24-hour period. I'll just, I'll sit in the base of medrash and, let it all blow by, start cooking again, what I need the whole shirt or the whole inyan. And oftentimes the shoiv is not exactly how the person would have really pictured to himself. The Allah has come when the shoiv is given to us Alidei the Mashiach Shabbadah. And therefore, says that to carry out emes shoiv, you really need the koyach elyon, and particularly your own effort, more than what you do in the rotzei. Even though for the rotzei to be pneumistic, it's also going to be alidei your effort, but you're assisting yourself. When you're doing rotzei, you're willing to put in the effort because it's a very gishmacha thing. Rotzei is based on the word rotzon, and rotzon is what the mensch, that's what he wants. Shoiv means you've got to come back down from somewhere, you've got to return. Meaning it's not what you would necessarily have wanted, not what you really understood when you were in the rotzei. You have to come back down and do what you're told. And then you've got to ask, not what do I want, but what is wanted of me? What am I really supposed to be doing? Well, that's sometimes an embarrassing question. Yeah? And therefore, in order to be able to do that, for shleimas, you've got to have a lot of yigiyah. You've got to really work hard at it, even though there's a service Mamayla which shows you. The Chassidus shows you this is what you should really do. The Rebbe shows you this. But to really do it, that you've got to have yigiyah. So that's what the Rebbe says here, that in order to really carry out the shoiv, then that's with the inyan of your own effort more than what it is in the rotzoi. Dehinei be'arotzoi liyei shehu oz b'chinas kiruv lelkus nigrish boy aiseirus gam be'eis avidosoi v'yigiosoi be'koyach atzmai. Dainu shegam be'eis ais bonenes v'gam be'eis aiseirus hagam shi be'koychoi Mikol mokem nirugish etzloi be'eis ahi b'chinas makif aiseirus momayla. When you are involved in the Inyan from Ratzoi, then, like we said, everything comes from this Yisodus Momaila. You wouldn't have started had it not been Yisodus. So when you feel Yisodus Momaila, then you feel you're being helped, you feel you're being encouraged. And you're aware, it's like all Baba Chua said, there was a time in their lives that they felt, the Abbas was not bringing them and helping them and drawing them out, etc., etc. So in a certain minor way, every day you experience something of that. If you're making an effort, as we said, if you're just sitting around twiddling your thumbs, then you don't feel anything in particular. But so it's very encouraging to feel Ayasota. It's very warming to feel that the Eibishter bothers about you. To feel Ayasota, feel a drawing power mill, Mila. So you might say, when I make my own effort, before I turn off the tap of the Yisodus mill, no Mila. To a certain extent, that's true. But he said the Mila from Rotzoi is, like we just pointed out a minute ago, you and the Yisodus are more or less aiming for the same thing, because you're interested in high things, you want to go out and understand high, and you don't even get it all. The Yisodus is pulling you in that way. So therefore, when you're doing what the Yisodus promotes you to do, and you work on your own inyanim, you make that as bonim, you make that effort, you still feel the Yisodus. In other words, it's like a feeling that I'm being backed here, and I'm feeling it the whole time, the inner closeness of Hashem, and He's like what you might call magnetic force of drawing me into it. So therefore he said that when you're doing what you should do, however, since the whole idea of Ratzah is Kiru, in other words, the whole point of Ratzah is that you want to go near, you want to go out of your normal self, and you want to become near and involved in it. So he said, since the whole idea of Ratzah is Kiru, therefore, nearish boy even when you're doing what might picture in your mind the turning off with a tap of the Yisrael, feeling the divine pull. No, he said, since the whole Indian of Ratzah B'Klal is Kiru, therefore you're moving in the same direction as the divine pull, and it's like the two of you are unified or unison together, and you're aiming for something and you're prepared to put effort into that, and at the same time the divine koach is prompting you. So therefore you and the divine prompt like tune in one together, and the Ratzah on the part of your own effort is benefited by the fact that it feels the presence of the divine pull, and there's like no what you might call turning away from the divine pull, or how would you call it, a feeling of any contradiction between the two. Even when he himself is thinking about Elokus, which you might have thought he's not relying on Hashem's drawing here. Even when he's waking up in himself his own love for Hashem, that's come with his own effort. He feels what's called the makif of the Yisodus Momaila. He feels this all-enveloping power of Hashem which draws down and affects him, even though he's doing his own thing. In other words, you shouldn't think that by doing your own thing you're turning off this feeling. No, since you're all going in the same direction, as it were, then even though you're making your own effort, you're feeling also. But he said it's a makif. The difference between what you're doing is you're working b'panimiyas, you're working in your own self, and you're working b'panimiyas. Mashik, this soil is like a general thing. It's a uniform makif. It's outside you. It's only just drawing you from a distance, as it were, but you feel it. You can still appreciate it, and therefore you're very encouraged. And so the Rebbe said, usually a Ratzah is also at a good time of the day. When you're in the mood, or what you might call it's early in the morning, you're fresh, you got up, you've got a bit of time to daven. So he said, V'gam huzman v'eish muksha lavoida. Derech klal, when a person feels a Ratzah, then that's a time and a fitting time. Eish muksha, how do you call it, a kosher time for Avodas Hashem. So that also helps, it's In other words, when he's in the rotoi, b'shas atfila, he's got everything on his side. He's doing his bit, but that's a great thing. He still feels, nonetheless, the draw of the makif of Hashem, and it's also a augureous moment. The chances of success are high because it's a fitting time for it. It's a good time for it. So, in other words, it's an ideal equation. If you take it from all sides, then he's on a good, to use the old Australian expression, he's on a good wicket. He's playing on a good. It's a good move, Or as I suppose they say in America, it's a good outfield or a good ball game or a chayson. In other words, it's a draw where the service has drawn him. He's reacted. He's making an effort, but he still feels the service, and it's a good time. This is a time when these sort of things get working. Everything, you might say, is on his side. Avo, he said, Ashoiv. What is Shoiv? Ashoiv is, we don't ask you anymore what you want, like we said. The secret behind this whole point here is in Shoiv, we're not really asking you what you want anymore. Shoiv, we're telling you what you've got to do. And Shoiv means you've got to leave behind all these high and yonim, and you've got to go down in the world and do what Hashem wants, prepare mamish in the world. So therefore, come to you is that maybe the Yisraelis, which is helping you to do that, and what you feel don't really get together because you would have liked to stay, like we said, in the long bracket chair, and you'd like to stay inside the base of meditation. What do you need to do with the whole Indian? Lama tatzarik l'kol ha'inyan hazeh. And ever says the Rebbe, Hashoiv harui b'koi koi, she'oz einu b'chinas kiru. He's not in a state of kiru or devekes pelikus. Why? Because he's left the base of Midah. He's going out into the world. Gam she'einu b'chinas richo chas v'shom. Sometimes he's running away from pelikus. Not that I said he's distant. Gam kein einu b'chinas kiru. He's not in a state of nearness. Mamira einu nirgesh boy kol kach. He doesn't feel so much that awakening which is helping him also with the shoy. Like we just said, when he's in Rotei, everything's moving in the same direction. The Rotei, the Hoyasores wants him to go out, and he's going out, and the whole idea is to become near, so he feels everything. Over the when Shoiv is to go away, as it were, to go down, and to be in a state of distance, as it were, from that Yisrael. Even though deep inside the Yisrael is working, because it's also helping you. The Eibishter wants you to do Shoiv, that's for sure. But you're not in a state of kiruv to that Yisrael, as you're working in a different direction. Therefore, you don't feel it. Begolu in your neshama. Mamela ain't a nearest boy called Kachachin as a says no maida. And therefore, to do what you're supposed to do in the shoiv, you need a real lot of effort, and that's what it is. That's why I said that the Ike Indian of Kiyam Amitzvos B'chol Hayoyim Kula is Kabbalah Sel Mahusha Shamayim, and that's the basis of it all. And that also adds in all the other good things that come with that. Anhimshum Mitzada. And that's your own effort. That's Dafki B'koyach Atzmei. We see from that the necessity for your own koyach is much more in the sheiv than it is in the rotzah. In other words, where you're anyway going close and you're going upwards, it's much easier to feel higher divine things. And where you're going down, as it were, you're going. It's like the two neshamas, there's an old quip by the Chassidim, the two neshamas meet on the one's coming down, one's on the way up. And the one coming down is more anxious to know what's going on down there. Where you took, and the one's already been down there, and he's coming up. He says, you have to realize that all you got to have down there is just a bit of simple Kabbalah oil, and he said a little bit of gelt. He says you can have a little bit of gelt and a bit of Kabbalah oil. This is good. So that the shop on the way down, Anyway, it's only a quip. So he says, but Gamke ain't of Kirov, and therefore he doesn't feel the Yisraelis Mamayla, even though Chas v'Sholem to say that Hashem lets him go. Hashem was helping him there also, but they're not working in the same direction. Therefore, you don't feel it. It's working, but you don't feel it. Yesh Leima, the Hagam de B'chinas Harotze v'Ashoiv Shneihem Boim Alidei B'chinas Yisraelis Mamayla. So the Rebbe said, in order to explain that a little bit more pnimius, to understand it a bit more why it's stuck like that, is we could say that even though the Rotze and the Shoiv, both of them come from an awakening Maila, and that's Vayash came from the Posik, Vayash came Lovon Baboika, I think we already mentioned that earlier, the Posik, which is written by Yankov, when he was chased after by Lovon and caught up with him. And before he parted from Lovon, it's written that Vayash came Lovon Baboika. Lovon got up early in the morning. So it says Mainaf Kimina, what he did, what he got up early in the morning, he got up late was Mainaf Kimina. Vayash came Lovon Baboika. Lovon is the union from Leuven, whiteness. That indicates the Ein Sof, the simplicity of the Eibishter's light, how it is beyond all the spheres in a very high madriga. And Vayash came, it gets up very early in the morning, and in the early morning there's a giving of a power of simple, tremendously high level that will cruise down to wake up all the neshamas. Like it's written in Torah, Baruch is going to get to that. That's a famous mime of the Alter Rebbe in Torah. He's might well that Lovin was not a particularly pleasant character. So what do we say on one hand? We say that he's the shortage of all awakening of all the neshamas, and then on the other hand we say he was a good piece of no good. This Lovin, and like we see, we bring down in the Mishnah in Dr. Pesachim in reference to the Leil, the Haggadah Shel Pesach, we say over there that Arami Oived Avi, in the beginning of the Haggadah, we say that the Arami, that's Lovin, he wanted to destroy everything. Shalovin, Bikesh La Koyeres HaKoyel. Lovin was prepared to uproot the whole Kedushin, uproot the whole of Yankov, the whole Hemshech of Yidna, do it. We don't find that by other Rishonim. That's not the Mishnah. You say it in the Haggadah Shel Pesach. He would say, Vayash came Lovin Baboikin. Why did the Torah tell us that Lovin got up early in the morning? This is a tremendous Hamshacha which wakes up all the Neshamas, both to Rotzei v'Shoiv. How do they both come together? So the answer is that because he's so high that he can have a Yerida but doesn't feel. He's got a certain shachas to the earls of Toihu. And therefore, if you catch him the way he is in his purity, then you get a very high level of light that comes down, Leuven, earlier. Over, he had a certain fall at a certain point. If you catch him after he's had the Nafila, then you get down to the Oimika Klippers, Rachmanin and Klan. And he's the Koyach HaKlippa Haki Kosher, because he came from a Madrega HaGavoya B'Yiz, where he fell down. We do it. And therefore we find there's a certain connection between Lovin and Amalek. The same type of koyach in Lovin is the same koyach from Amalek, but that's what we're doing with now in Chodesh Adar. Chodesh Adar is connected with the Bittul of Klippus Amalek, Kiyadua, Amafursa. At least, hopefully. So.
Is there like a time limit on this arousal in the morning? Does it expire after a certain point? Is there a special time?
That's a very good question. Well, if you ask, I don't know how to say the expression, with these things you've got to be careful what you say, but if you ask a Litvach, a Mishnagid, he'll tell you after this month, sure, finished. And even up to then, it's also a question. It's Be'ikah, it's in the Vasiki, in the very early part of the morning. About after this month, so you forget about it. The Chulei. With all respect. And V'yesh b'zeh mashu. I mean, the elevator, we'd be able to daven Vasik, you know. I once heard from the Kloisenberg, a very geschmacked word. I was once on a plane. I heard from him. From the Kloisenberger, Zeker Tzadik Levracha. The Tanzer Rabbi. So he said that it's written in the Gemara that in Sector Brachas, Daf Hey, on the Dallas, on the base, the state there's one of the great Tanoim is called Abba Binyamin. I say this guy's Abba Binyamin. So Abba Binyamin said that Al Gimel Dvorim Ayisim Tztaya Kol Yomai. All my days I had tremendous tzar to try and do these three things. And one of them is that he said, Shetahei Tfilosi Somoch Lemi Tosi. My prayer should be close to my bed. I state that. The great Mephoshim all went over to me, his prayer should be close to his bed. The Rashi and Teisler over there, that he used to try and daven as soon as he could after he got up in the morning. In other words, his tefillah should be close to his bed. Not he used to daven alongside his bed. To go to a shul or somewhere, you can't just daven alongside your bed. That it should be, as soon as possible. After I got up there, I should be able to daven. So it's written that he was mitztaya, kol yomai. A tremendous tzar carried this out. So the Kloisenberger said to me, he said, what did he have to be mitztaya? What was a tzar? Tzar means you made tremendous painful effort, but you didn't quite make it. I said, when a daven says you get daven, get up and stand alongside your bed, and go straight to a shul, immediately get out of bed and daven. Was it a bayah? I said, oh man, it's not very easy to do that. They tell me, a tzar, a tremendous amount of tzar that should be able to daven. The tefillah should be able to be close to when you get up. This is only the Heilig Abba Binyamin, he said, could manage that. And he said, also after a lot of tzar. Tremendous amount of time. Normal people, they can only daven when they've made a lot of preparation to break their heads and mess around, and then hopefully you'll be able to daven. And now sometimes all of a sudden you look at the clock and see it's got late. So you ask, is the service still there then, or does it just sort of drop away somewhere after a certain point on the clock? So I say about the Vadicheva, that he used to daven, the Levi Vadicheva used to daven late also. He was a late davener. So that's not true. Why did he daven so late? So he said that he's like a Maasef, he's like Shevet Don. They used to come at the end and they used to pick up all the left things that people lost. They used to gather all the Vedas, they were called the Maasef or Kola Amachanes. They used to come up and they used to gather all the things that were lost from all the Machanes. So the B'ditchever said that he's a Maasef or Kola Machanes. All the people were late, all the people who slept in the Charaim and should have davened, but they didn't quite, they didn't quite make it, and there was quite a lot of stuff behind, they didn't sort of manage to get it in, and they'd do it. So he said, he davens late, and he comes on, he gathers it all up, and he puts it all up, and he says to the Avish, oh, you see, Avish, I'm still davening. So these old guys that they davened late, no, they didn't really, it's still in the time, I'm still davening. In other words, he saved them all, that they shouldn't be called this, and that his service would still be there, and the Ashkem Vav and Babucha would be there until he finished, at least until he finished his davening. So it depends. So the Rebbe Rashab, Milan who got with the author of the Samech Vav, but he did say that the Samech Vav was in order to bring Mashiach. It's a famous so the Rebbe Rashab said that he takes on himself personally, that the Rebbeim took on themselves. The Achrei is that ad Chatzos, up until half of the day, if you daven, you made some preparations, you mean Erev, and you want to daven, you didn't quite make it, they take on their shoulders, up to Chatzos. I'm not talking about you slept till 10:30 in the morning, and then you got up and drank a Maxwell coffee of half a gallon or something. and polished off, a couple of pounds of Mercedes, and you ate some milkshakes or something, you made a big, huge towel, and you said, a little bit late, maybe I should hop around a bit of down. And so that's not what the Rebbeim said, that they take on themselves up into Chatzai. What they meant was that if you got up in the Seder, you're up early and you went to the mikveh and you did everything, you made preparation and it took a little bit of time, they got involved in it, they take on themselves that there'll still be the service of a Yash Kaim Laban, but we'll make sure that Laban, he gets up in the morning, but he stays up. All right. So anyway, it was a good question. So now, I'll show you. Oh yeah, Dagan de Prince Rotzei Vashoiv. Shneim boyim al yedei Prince Seres Mamay. The Vayash came Lavan Baboy. Mikol Maki. Al Prince Rotzei Maspika Oyer Hameir Lo Prince Maki. So the Rebbe said, what is it? You need so much to be matzliach with the shoy. And with the rotzeh, it's easier to be matzliach, as it were. It's easier to sort of get into a rotzeh and go out. He said, you want to know why? He said, both of them need a Yisrael. But he said, it's not mamish the same Yisrael. The Mokia is Vayash came Lavan Bo, but there's enough kamina and a difference in the two forms of the Yisrael. He said, because for a rotzeh to go out and to be high and to go up into higher elements, he said, that's maspik. It's a very interesting word. He said, that's enough. The oil is meir of b'chinas makif. He said, it's maspik, oil which is a makif. So he said that if it's a makif, so b'chinas achitini is the erein. And it's sort of like perhaps one of the two. If you say that it's a makif, it's a very high madrega. It's a makif. You say, no, this is a chitonius. So taki a high madrega, it's a makif. This is a chitonius. Uki you do it, the bo'erein safe gufa, in o'erein safe, mamish in unlimited elikus, mamish in unlimited. You know how it is, absolutely beyond limitations. In that itself, yesh chitonius her. Opinion. But there's chitanius and pnimia. How do I see that? Well, Kamaima, Oirein Seif Milgov, Kisra Ilua Milvor. There's a statement brought down in the Zohar, in Tchun Israel, brought down that the Oirein Seif, the Emesa Unlimited light of the Eivishter is Milgov. It's from the inside. It's on the inside, let's say. It's on the inner aspect. Kisrei Loa, most high Keser, meaning the Madrega, which we call Keser, is Milvor. It's from the outside. In Aramaic, the word Milvor means from the outside. On the outside. So we see from that there's one madrega which is called Oirein Seif, mamish unlimited light from the Eivishter, and that's Milgov. That's like Pnimi, that's inside, meaning that's Pnimi. It's somehow another shot to what we call Pnimi. We'll soon see what we mean by that. Mashenkin Kisrei Lo, Keser is L'mayla Mikol HaSfiros. Keser is the infinite Seif. Oh. So the Rebbe Bivalus, it's Keser to something. It's already Keser to all the spheres. It's already sitting on the cuff, as you might call, of the spheres. Then it's got a certain shaykhus to the infinite Ilam. Therefore, it's a makif in a Hanami, but it's only chitzainias. It's not the emeser ein seif, not the emeser ein seif. The emeser ein seif is l'mayla l'gamri without any shaykhus to the infinite Ilam. It's in pashtas. Yeah, and he said that Indian of Keser is a makif, but afu pikein it's chitzaini. Mashenki in the emeser itself is milgav. ומה שבו בבחינת מקיף, זהו בחינת החיצוניוס דאר אין סייף. וזה מספיק על בחינת הרוצוי מלמטה ליש הרוצוי בדרך כלל הוא בחינת חיצוניוס דאר אין סייף כידוע. I don't know if it's yadua, but he said it's yadua. Here's a pillar to get out. I really need a lot of credit, and it's not good to be talking with a bad tooth with the whole miser in this Indian. It's not good to be talking about these Indian because it's very profound Indian. Suffice it to say that what the Rebbe is saying, what the Kuda is the higher you go in the madrigas of Oyer Ein Seif, because both of them are Ein Seif. Kesa Elyon and Oyer Ein Seif are both of them Oyer Ein Seif. They're not yet limited. They're not Oyeres Aboim Mitzad HaGbola in the sphere. They're both unlimited. But the higher you go into the unlimited light, then the more that becomes Emesa Ein Seif. But if it's going to go anywhere eventually, it's going to go Dafkiber. But the Davis is going to want that should Davki enter into the Kalim and into a Makabel, and it should be part of him and be Mizkal and him Davki B'Pnimi. And those things which are Oyer Ein Seif, but they're only Chitanias as far as the Davis is concerned, they're not really the Emes Oyer Ein Seif, they will be Meir B'Chinas Makif. And the fact that they're Meir B'Makif on the one hand indicates that they're high, but on the other hand it indicates that they're not really the ultimate purpose, what the Abish really wants. In other words, what he really wants is that there should be the Amshocha Davke B'Pnimius Davke, and for that he gives the most precious and higher madrigas that he has, that he gives for the Pnimius. While those inyonim which are just going to be Meir over inyonim, believe his slavish, his galish for him, or the chitanius lagavitayim. That's only just a lower level in the Ein Seif. That's called Kisra Ilo. Erefa, says the Rebbe, when it comes to the Yisraelis of Rocha V'Shur, both of them are Makif. But he said the union from the Yisraelis, which is given for the union of Rocha, is enough Yisraelis of that level, which is only Makif, and it is only Meir B'Makif, because basically it's Chitanius. Lagabi Hashem, it's not all he's got to give. It's Kilo Chitanius, Lagabi him, and there was Meir, and also what happens, what you earn through that is also ultimately only a union from Chitanius. Whatever he said, the Rotza is a Chitanius, ultimately. With all its miles and with all your going up and with all that you gain through the union of Rotza, ultimately it's Chitanius.
Didn't we say earlier and told us that for something to near Panimis that it would only be able to be in Ha'ara? So the lower is
that's if you're already talking about the union from Oiras which are Balavochi undergoing Mamalakov, and their union is managed to come into Panimis, so the more Mamali goes down, the more it becomes a Ha'ara. We're not talking about Mamali. We're talking about the union from the Achmitavik. That's what we're talking about. So have a bit of patience in your head. He said the more the Achmi, the more the Achmi, and the more ultimately that's going to come by Panimi. And the more that's just Chitanius, the more it'll just remain Makif. In other words, if Makif is really a Chitanius despite its great mileage, and the Inefa, Emesa Ein Seif, Emesa unlimited light of the Abish is Panimius. Was it derived from that? I mean, I want to say, right, what's one of the dugmois? What's one of the indications? What's one of the indications of that? Because the indication is that Liyosid Lover, when it's going to be the ultimate Iskalas of Moshiach, then what's going to happen? All the oils, Maki, Alieni, Maki, Nifloim, they're going to be Dafkinim Shepinimi. They'll Dafki Benimsha into the Odom and into the clay Ho'ilamas and into the Kalim Harayala Lamata Dafki. How does the Rambam finish off his great work? Umolo Hora Jdeyo Kamayim Liyama Chashi Mola Hor, it's Deo. Deo means that it's Mola, it's going to fill up. It's going to enter all the worlds. There can be different madrigas, Kamayim Liyama, Chashi, but it's going to be B'Pnimiyas. Davka. Mashenkin, that which is not really the Emsa Ein Seif, well, that remains Maki. That remains Maki. And therefore, that which will remain Liosik Lovi and a Emsa Makiv, and it never really going to be Nimshach in the Pnimiyas, that's a Chitain. I don't even know if there's going to be a Zahir. Give it Liosik. I mean, because Liosik, after Tchias Amazing, it's not going to be Rotze V'Shoiv anymore, it would appear. It's not going to be Shaital Oin Rotze. Amami, says it's mamish a pili plus from the Zach. He said, that koyach which is given you to help you with the rotzai, he said, that's where it ain't safe, or it's kisrei law. That's anyway, it's got a shaykhs to the elements, the Gabi Hashem, that's chitanius, whatever that comes in the form of maki, if it doesn't really enter anything, it's too high, doesn't enter anything, that draws you up. Yeah, but it's a makif. It's not a thing which is mashpia to you, but pnimius, and therefore, ultimately, the whole Indian is a chitanius. That's what he said. The Indian for rotze, yeah, is a bedar klau. Indian for chitanius, the eirain safe. What you reach through your rotze is a chitanius. You never really get into the ultimate pnimius. Always when you come to the shoiv, then you're mamshik that koyach which is where it ain't safe, milgav, or even the Eibishter's ain't safeness, which that dafki comes down, and that's meya etzlacha bepnimiyah. This is mamish meya into you, and as I mean even that you're able to give away everything b'basachas, you're able just to throw everything out, and with all your koyachas and milmaila from your seichel right down to your feet. Just give yourself away, Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim Atzmi to the Eibishter, and then you might also fill in the details. Well, that's all in under. That's a nachanam. It could be that even mitzad mamariko. Or since it's based on the giving power, this unbelievable koyach ein seifi, then it also finds its right place and everything fits in and everything becomes miskala, but it becomes miskala tafkila matter. And that's mi'ain losit love it. When a person does a yamas shoiv, he's really preparing the world for the gila which is going to be when Mashiach will come. And therefore, tafki the koyach haki ein seifi, but koyach haki niflo, haki elyain, well that's nimsha tafki b'pnimiyas, tafki into the pnimiyas ha'odam, and into the pnimiyas ha'oilon. And that's Puyo, and as I mean, even becomes Botel, Lagamri, we call the union from Bittelbama, Shias, yeah, Botel, Lagamri to Havaya, and that's called the Yamasini from Shoyi. That's the Yamitis union of Shoyi. But we'll see about that more in future and coming and developing episodes. But if he said, not everything that glitters is gold. Not everything looks to be ain't safe. It could be that it's ain't nachanam, it's ain't safe, but it's chitain. Emes opinion is very, very high.
Alright, seemingly it's hard enough for a person to come to this level of Ritzur. Why does Hashem, you said Hashem wants us to have a shoe. What's the purpose for Hashem having a shoe?
What's the purpose of Hashem having a shoe? Because that's what he wants. He wants it should be lamata in the world, it should be amshachas elikus into the Olam HaGashmi, into the Kelim HaGashmi, into your Kelim, into your Eivorim HaGashmi, into the world man. He doesn't want you flying upstairs. There's an old saying by the Chassidim, Malachim ha'tarebish to Ginuk. Angels, he's got enough. In other words, when you're in the Indian from Rotzo, you're like an angel to a certain extent. You're like a form of an angel. When you do shoiv, that's a way from the neshamas. Only the neshamas can tell. A malach, he can't come down into the world. If a kid's brought down, if a malach would come into the world, he's like to just have a complete mess up. You know the whole man. That's why the Avish has brought down the Kish to Arizal. That's why the Avish didn't send the Malachim into Mitzrayim. He didn't send the Malachim to get eaten out of Mitzrayim. Same the Goddess of Pesach. שלא היה לידי מלך, ולא היה לידי סורר, ולא היה לידי שליח, ולא היה הקים הקדוש ברוך הוא בתחוידי ובעצמי. Because the Malachim would have come Lamata, they should know if they're only good as hell.
Do something just done.
Shamas were Lamata. They were in the same mess. They didn't have the Matan Torah with the whole mass. And therefore the Abish himself came down to come out. That's the even of Shachar Lamata Mata. That's the whole he also wants us to have the Shoyah. That's the whole weekend. That's the